You ever see these guys? The Steelers Dynasty Podcast. What morons. Bubba is funny, but that Shane guy's a simpleton. Jamie, pull that clip up. Yeah, the Steelers Dynasty one. Can you believe these dumb Steelers? Fans, watch this crap. Yeah, that's it. Look at these two. Wow. You're watching the Steelers Dynasty Podcast with Bubba and Shane. These guys are morons, really dumb, funny, but dumb.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday night, like always, like clockwork. You are listening to Steelers Dynasty Podcast. I'm your host, Bubba Brewer, and before we start talking Steelers, I got to bring him on. He is my co-host. He's on every show I do. He brings extraordinary topics to the masses, and he's also doing West Virginia football here coming up this upcoming fall. And here he is, special field correspondent, Shane Stodmiller. Shane, how you doing?
Football. I just reached out to my to a possible co-host.
Oh, that's good.
Show, so we'll see what if he wants to.
Oh.
We'll see what happens. But Bubba.
Yes, sir.
What is going on? I mean, there's lots of news in the NFL. We might have a special guest tonight.
Yeah, we got there's some news that I want to get his viewpoint. And, we're going to talk some Steelers stuff, and hopefully the chat will talk, because yesterday on Mark's show with the three of us, it was potluck, and we did something extraordinary without having anything. We made egg salad out of like hard-boiled eggs. So and it's not Aaron Rodgers, but ladies and gentlemen, it could be. He's been seen in town. But we're gonna go, and I'm gonna introduce him like I always do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the show tonight is our special guest, the smartest man in Philly. Everybody, welcome to the show, Mr. Rich Smoke.
I'm gonna enter the show the same way I always do. That if you're gonna introduce me the same way, I'm gonna enter by complaining about the Rich Smoke thing. And you guys see me? Am I good?
I want to hear if he likes to push tush.
You're good. You're good. I see you.
Well, he was talking about me in third person, and I'm sitting right here, so I got confused if he could hear me or not. I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I just spent $900 on my dog to get surgery on her ear, so she's not so great. But she's she's back there recovering with her little donut on.
Oh my God!
She had a hematoma of the ear. Oh. Basically, it's a giant blood pocket. Her whole ear, which looked like an inflated balloon. Saturday we went to the zoo, took my son out for a beautiful day. Come home and my dog's ear looks like a whoopee cushion. So good times. $1,000 later total over the last 4 days, and she's getting better. So my wallet's not, but she is. So I guess that's all that matters, right? But man, I'm happy to be here. And there was some news today, that's for sure. And I just want to say that the Eagles prove once again that we have the best owner in football. I just want to
let's go right into that, because this show is all about. This is like Seinfeld, all about something, but all about nothing. Because until our lovely season gets to start here, but I do have some Steeler topics that we're going to talk about. But what do you think, like Shane said, what do you think of that lovely tush push? Because you guys use a lot of it. We do not, which we should, but we don't. Let me hear your
Well, I love what Jeffrey Lurie did. Jeffrey Lurie took away the option. So what he did, I don't know if you guys heard about this. He apparently gave a speech that was an hour long to conclude the meeting before the vote took place.
Okay.
And he said something, I can't quote it because I don't remember exactly what he said, but I'll give you the guideline very quickly. He said something along the lines of, the play is like every teenage boy's wet dream. We came up with a play that was designed and executed so well that everybody else tried to copy it, do whatever they could to stop it, and they couldn't. So what do they decide to do? He was like, you know what? If you want to ban the play, you go right ahead. All that proves is you can't stop it, so you're so afraid that you're going to ban it. And what that tells everybody else is if you vote against the tush push, You're basically admitting to exactly what I just said. So when it felt like he decided to pull the MasterCard. He basically said, fine, ban it. Go right ahead and admit that you can't stop it and admit that the play is too dominant. And if anything, I was okay either way. If that play gets banned, that's talked about forever from here on out. It would be the first play in NFL history to ever be banned. There's never been a single play. There's hits that you can't make. There's certain grabs that you can't do. There's penalties for things. But it would be the first play that was ever designed banned in the National Football League.
I mean, I personally don't see anything wrong with it because you have to stop it at the line of scrimmage anyway. But also too, once the whistle is blown, the play is dead.
Yep.
So if you can stop them, you hold them, or you're getting a first down. One or the other. What do you think, Shane?
Yeah. It's a slippery slope. I mean, they'd be blowing the whistle early on plays where the runner still has a momentum and still can get an extra yard or two. It goes against everything that football stands for. Getting that extra half inch. I mean, every play is like that. I like the push tush, not in a sexual way, but I'm just saying I love it.
I like both.
She thought I was getting frisky, and I said no. Today, push and tush was passed. She's like, okay. So, anyways, I confused the hell out of her. But hopefully I'm not confusing you guys. It's a damn good play, and he challenged. You're right, Rich. He challenged every organization out there to see if their man card was laminated well enough by spraying water on it. And if that man card wasn't challenged, I don't know where it would have went.
Well, the expectation coming into the deliberation was that the vote would pass and it would be banned. It was expected to be banned today. And now, again, how much of that has to do with Lori's speech, I don't know. But I do know as a man, and it sounds like Shane agrees, if a man stands up at a podium and says, if you ban this play, it's just you admitting that you're pathetic and you can't stop it, right, and that you have to ban it just to stop it, it makes me go, okay, you know what? If I vote against it, now I kind of look like a bitch. Now I look like it. Because if anything, Lori and them were thinking it, Eagles fans were thinking it, but now that everybody's talking about it out loud, I'm really going to look bad. But what it comes down to is it might not be the prettiest play, right? And that's the problem with modern sports. I mean, for example, as a Steelers fan, Bubba, you should agree 1,000%. Was it exciting to watch Jerome Bettis run for 3 yards every time? Not always. However, it was the most unstoppable play for a while. You had Dan Kreider lined up at fullback. Maddox wasn't that great of a quarterback at that time. Neither was Cordell Stewart. So what did you do? You line up Kreider, you put Bettis behind him, run an I formation up the middle. It wasn't fun. It wasn't beautiful, but it didn't have to do.
It worked.
It didn't have to.
It worked.
It executed what the situation was. If it's a goal line from the 2, give it to Bettis. If it's a goal line from the 6, maybe you use Staley when you guys had Staley for a little while.
Right.
Again, I know my Steelers ball. I know all football, so I will pull some names out.
That's why you're the smartest man in Philly. That's why.
I mean, not everybody knows Dan Kreider, but if you're a Steelers fan and don't know Dan Kreider, go watch some highlights. That man could block for a fullback.
Whoa,
he was one hell of a fullback back in the day, man.
Every fullback that we had was actually a beast in the Steelers organization. Yeah. And I love my fullbacks, and I know that's not part of the offense anymore. But you know what? It's like bell-bottom jeans. Everything comes back.
Every fad, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm okay with look, your defensive line has to get through the crease, has to stop them, has to penetrate, the offensive line to get in the backfield. If they get in the backfield, the tush push is not going to work.
Not only that, you know the best way to stop a tush push? Don't give us 3rd and 1. Execute better on 1st and 2nd down as a defense. If you can execute better as a defense on 1st and 2nd down, there won't be a 3rd and 1 tush push. There won't be a 3rd and inches. If it's 3rd and 4, I've seen situations where the Eagles had it 3rd and 3, and they didn't call it. They called a pass play instead because the play. And let's be honest, it's not like we're abusing it. It's not like it does guarantee you about 3 yards of carry. It really does. You could pick up
your
first
team
down
can do it where the Steelers. That's not known because in the whole time during the Steelers in the last 15 years. The short yardage Steeler drives were never around unless we had Bettis. We wouldn't do a quarterback sneak when we're on the 1 or 2 yard line. And that was unheard of in the old Matt Canada but now with Arthur Smith, I don't know, because our offense is going to be a little different due to the fact of how it is. But your team is the only team that actually is perfectifying, and I just made that word up. Perfectifying the tush. Yes, I just made that word up. The tush push, and you guys are, the kings of that. I mean, and other teams try to follow.
Well, what's weird though is Buffalo is the team that runs it the second most. They run it the second most in the NFL, but their execution percentage is about 20% lower. They're way less effective. And what's interesting to me is that Sean McDermott, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, a guy who calls that play quite a bit, was one of the big advocates to get rid of it. Now, if any of you don't know this, turns out my colleague at my job, his grandparents live next door to Sean McDermott's actual parents, which is interesting.
Oh, wow.
He's from PA. Again, he coached in Philadelphia for 1 year. Well, actually, he was in Philly for 3 years. He was an assistant defensive coordinator to Jim Johnson in the early 2000s in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Then he became the defensive coordinator for 1 year. He got kind of a raw deal. We only gave him a 1 year shot, and we booted him. So apparently the family still bashes the Eagles to this day. Like, they don't even talk about his time with Philadelphia at all. So some people argue, is it the bitterness? Is it just the fact that they don't run it as well? Is it both? But nonetheless, how do you run it the second most and then say, yeah, we should get rid of it for injury concerns? By the way, over the last 2 seasons, since we started doing the tush push, 0 injuries on the offensive line in Philadelphia with that play.
Yeah.
And even Kelsey said, it sucks. It hurts a little bit. Like, it makes you sore at the end of the day, but you do what you have to do to win football games. And that's
you're not going to do it every play because that's just it. It's so exerting.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think they're disrespecting the rest of the guys, right? You're disrespecting the men up front. What I love about the tush push the most, guess what it finally does? What does nothing else in the NFL do? Nobody talks about offensive linemen, right? We talk about our fantasy teams. We go quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defense. Nobody talks about offensive line. Nobody. They'll mention them as a whole, but they never mention the individual players at each tackle, guard, center. We ignore the offensive line, even though it is the most versatile and necessary spot on the field. What the brotherly shove, as he likes to call it, or the tush push does, it finally shows how versatile an offensive lineman really is. Because here's the thing. The reason why it works so well in Philadelphia, we have the best O-line in football. You can't just do that with an average run of offensive linemen. You can't just take the worst guys in the league, throw them down, and say it's going to work. It takes talent. It takes practice.
Well, you have a question right here from Craig and Patton. So there you go. What's your
No, I don't think it does. I mean, listen, we saw it, right? Like, look, take Jalen Hurts out. We tried the tush push with Kenny Pickett. It didn't work. We got stopped. We tried it with Tanner McKee, the rookie. He barely got it, but he's 6'4", 6'5". He's a massive man, but he barely got through. You have to have the right guys in the right spot to make that play happen. You lose a Mailata, you lose a center. Like, we went from Kelsey to Juergens. Juergens is a gritty guy, just like Kelsey was. If you don't have those guys at the guard and center, and you don't have the right quarterback to execute, you are going to get stopped. And not to mention, the ball transfers very hard. We've seen the Eagles fumble a couple of times. I mean, Hurts has fumbled the ball.
That's why Kenny's hands are too small.
It takes a very special group of guys to do that. Not only just to do it, but to be willing to do it for the team. A lot of teams are probably saying, "Hey, you know what? Our O linemen don't want to," and it is a scrum.
Yeah,
but you know
Mark
what?
From Steelers Nation, Australia. Mark, how you doing?
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah,
it was actually.
But also too, I think the Steelers, and get back to the Steelers running the ball is going to be a little different because we don't know. Because yesterday we were grading our positions before the start of the season, and I just don't know until we see some of the Steelers running backs and see how it goes, that tush push or the short yardage situation can come in handy with the Steelers, because it'll probably be double tights, heavy, and that's what the Steelers are going to do. And I just think that there's a lot of stuff, and we don't know if we're going to have a fullback or a hybrid tight end fullback, and Connor Hayward might be on the outside looking in. So I don't know.
I think like, so for example, the running back that you guys took, I can't get his name off the top of my head for some reason. Johnson. But I mean, what he's known for, he's a power back. He's not going to go east and west. He's not going to juke you out. He's not going to spin you. But what he's going to do, he's going to run through you. And I think a big reason why the Steelers went out and got a guy like him is you already have a guy with speed like Jalen Warren. He can do the east and west running. He can do catching out of the backfield. What you guys needed was – because what they wanted Najee to be was north and south. I think Najee tried to get too cute sometimes. He was trying to be east and west, and you're just not that kind of a guy. I think what they finally did was they get Johnson. He's a power guy. You can run him between the guard and the tackle. And I think he will pick up those short yardage situations, especially with a young quarterback group. Have no idea what's going to happen. We don't know if Rodgers is coming or not. This is like the longest wait since hitting puberty.
Well, that's good. That's good. You're going to start right into that because let's go. Because
my take on the Rodgers. I've said it a million times.
He was on. I guess he was just on Joe Rogan. I don't know. I didn't get to see that. I don't know if he said anything. Shane, did you see any of that?
He was talking about helicopters and on hieroglyphs and Egypt and all kinds of wild, crazy shit, and didn't talk anything about the Steelers.
He's not going to. He's not going to.
I just think because OTAs are next week, he's not going to be coming in, and we are going to be the only. He's going to be the only quarterback if he's signed, not to do OTAs, and I think that's a big. I don't care. It's a big deterrent for me. So
I think there's a time limit there. Again, we don't know it as fans. We don't know it as spectators. But there's definitely had to have been a conversation of how you have until this day.
This is a Tomlin thing. Tomlin wants him. This is a Tomlin thing.
Tomlin's the problem. I've been saying that for 4 years now. I think I've been saying the same thing since I met you guys. How many times have I said that, Bubba, behind the scenes? Probably so many times you want to blow your brains out. And it's not that I don't like him as a coach. I think he's a great coach. I think that you guys just need to get back to Steelers culture. I think you need to have somebody fresh with a fresh viewpoint, something a little bit more modern to come in there. And yeah, I mean, you have to have a different mindset. Like Andy didn't do well at the end of his days in Philadelphia, but he got to go build his own team as a GM basically in Kansas City. And I think Tomlin would do great somewhere else that's already established, take over a team somewhere. I just think that you guys need a new direction. And the problem with keeping Tomlin there is you're just stuck in the same rut. And what I think the biggest problem is, real fast, I think that deep down, the reason why he keeps getting these contracts is he's never had a losing season, right? And as fans, we're tired of hearing about this goddamn losing season thing. I don't care anymore. 9-8 every year or 10-7 doesn't mean shit if you don't win playoff games. I don't give a shit about positive records.
Well, I mean, you're outside looking in because your team won a Super Bowl, and you got a coach that won a Super Bowl, and he was fired, and you got another coach, and you got so. I mean, your take is outside the norm of
but the problem with Steelers football is look at every team who's won a Super Bowl real fast, right? Look at what they've all done. They all had that horrible season that led to one major change. Right? So Philadelphia in 2016, they go out and they finish second worst in the NFL. We get the second overall pick, take Carson Wentz. Now, obviously, he wasn't able to finish his Cinderella story, but he takes us to a 13-2 record, and he goes out for the rest of the year. Nick Foles comes in, wins the Super Bowl. After winning the Super Bowl, what do the Eagles do? They automatically recognize a flaw. They draft Jalen Hurts in the second round against my wishes. I didn't want him. They draft Jalen Hurts. It's like, wait, why would you do that? Just 1 year after, 2 years after taking Carson Wentz, you just won a Super Bowl. Why would you draft another quarterback? They take him. What happens? We have a horrible year the year after. We fire our head coach. That's how much we care. Like, the thing is, Lori knows in Philadelphia, we want consistency, and if you're not going to win games, get the hell out. And Peterson was losing the locker room. He wasn't able to get the men's attention anymore, and he wasn't winning football games. What is Mike Tomlin doing? He's lost the respect of the men. He's not getting the attention that he needs, and they're not winning the important football games. Just like Doug Peterson, go somewhere else. Toodaloo. That's it.
I can't see him going 0-6, and we talked about it yesterday. And there's no way.
Well, you saw my comment on that
third-string quarterback who's on the studio can. The Steelers are not going with the team that we have right now, just based on paper. Shane can probably attest to this too, maybe because Shane is starting to. He's starting to be not a outside looking. He's starting to get that feel of being a Yenzer.
Never go full Yinzer, Shane. Don't ever go full.
But right now on paper, okay, right now, just on paper, in the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers are number 2 right behind the Ravens. because Cincinnati might have that high-powered offense. They got no defense, and Cleveland is nothing to talk about. So right now on paper, Pittsburgh Steelers. Shane, do you agree with that or no?
I agree. At the worst, the first 6 games are 3-3.
So if I have to hurry up and speed run it, I'm gonna be unbiased. I'm gonna take Jets over Steelers. This is gonna be the comeback year for I'm taking the Jets over the Steelers.
Hey, Bubba, let's pull up. Wait a second.
Do I have it? Do you have it?
I can pull it up.
Okay. I'll let you. I'm redoing this. We're going to redo this. You're coming on when we redo this, but
I'm okay.
Go ahead. This is a show.
I'm here for a party,
This is a show about nothing that we got to pull something out. So, this is the limbo time. So,
I'm here for a party.
Controversy sells cash or cash for whatever the fuck I say. But it is what it is. Now,
I'm trying to find it.
If you have now, what do you think with or without? You got to go with or without.
Without, they lose to the Jets. With, the problem is, with him not being – my concern is with him not being signed yet, not having time to build chemistry with the guys. I think it's going to take a couple of games to get him implemented into the team. I'm taking the Jets either way.
Oh, my God. What the hell? Okay, go ahead. Okay, you're taking the Jets.
But let me give a 1 second.
Let me write it down. I'm going to write it down.
1 second, one explanation real fast. I'm going to give a fast one for each one. I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to go deep.
Craig. Yes, Craig. It is a Deadpool
Justin Fields has something to prove against a team that just cut him 100%. He's going to come out a lot more aggressive.
Our defense is going to kick his ass.
Hold on. But he's also versatile. You got to give the man some credit. Who's this amateur? Okay, whatever you say, George. But then you look at the running game. Now, last year, their biggest fall was the defense. Defense used to be top 5 4 years in a row. Last year, due to injuries, it took a step back. They're going to be healthy week 1. I'm not worried about that.
Okay,
either way.
So you took them as a loss.
I took the Jets as well. I'll take the Steelers for 0-1. Yes, I did.
Okay, Steelers are 1-0. Okay, keep going.
Oh, no, Steelers are 0-1. They lost to the Jets there.
In my eyes, it's
1-0. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
They beat Seattle here. I think they beat Seattle easily. I don't believe in Sam Darnold. I think last year was a fluke year. He had a great receiver core. He's not going to get that in Seattle. They lost their top 2 wide receivers. I know they have Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's okay, but I don't think he's going to be able to take.
Shane, what do you suggest on the first 2? Shane, you said 3-3.
I can see that happening. I can see 3-3.
You guys can listen, everybody laughs about the Jets, but I think it's one of those situations where you saw them with an old man quarterback where they had a struggling offensive line. And again, me and Shane talked about this 2 years ago in our pick'ems, actually, when we used to do that show together. The Jets were ranked top 5 in O-line, top 5 in D-line. Last year, they ranked number 1 in injuries on the O-line, and they were like top 7 in the NFL in injuries on defense. When that team was healthy, they won football games with terrible quarterback play. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be the Jets. I just don't believe in Mason Rudolph, and I never will. I apologize, but that's just where I stand on that. Defense can be great.
He's got a goatee now. He's got a goatee.
The defense is great. I love Pittsburgh's defense. However, Slay's still a little old. We got to see how he fits the defense. We don't know. The Steelers could easily go 6-0, right? However,
I say that. See, I knew it.
But here's the thing. But there's so many moving parts, right? So we're taking this on face value.
This is just right now.
It's face value.
Without seeing anything right now.
We have no idea what the team's going to look like when we finally put it on the field. We have no idea. There's so many new moving pieces we don't know. So this is just going off of what we think.
This is going off what you, and then me and Shane will go off because we did it last week, but we can still go without, you know what I mean? This is just paper.
Yep. All right. So I got a loss against the Jets, a win against the Seahawks. Steelers start off 1-1.
Okay.
I take them with a win here over New England. I like Drake May a little bit. I don't think he's anything too special that they claim he is. He gives me a lot of first-year Mac Jones vibes where he comes out. Mac Jones looked pretty good his first couple seasons in New England, if you remember. He was supposed to be the next Tom Brady, the future of the franchise. That crumbled awfully quickly. I still don't think they have enough talent at wide receiver in New England. I don't think the defense is rebuilt. You got a third head coach in 3 seasons. They fired the guy last year. They fired Belichick left the year before. 3 new head coaches. I'm taking Pittsburgh to dominate the Patriots by at least 10 points in this game.
Okay, and Shane, do you? I'm taking them right now. They're 3-0 in my book.
This is definitely a win. This next week where I give it a 50. I think Minnesota's going to win. So.
Okay, well, let's go right to Minnesota real quick here, Rich.
Week 4, I think Minnesota as well. I mean, the quarterback play. I mean, we don't know what we're going to get from McCarthy either.
But they don't have a quarterback either.
Well, they have McCarthy. He was out last year. He looked great in the preseason. That's all we've seen so far. So again, that's why I said we don't know. However, without seeing McCarthy, but seeing Rudolph, I mean, I'm going to call it even for right now. However, the difference is with you guys over there, you got Metcalf now, obviously. Pickens is now gone. The one difference is with Minnesota, you got to deal with Justin Jefferson, who's an absolute stud. Jordan Addison stepped up big time last year, became he was top 12 in receiving yards last season as well. You got the tight end play as well. The running game came back strong last season. Defensively, they were actually very, very good. It's what carried that Sam Darnold team for a while. The Minnesota Vikings are still going to be if the quarterback play can be solid, Minnesota's going to take a deep run in the playoffs, potentially in the NFC.
Okay. Week bye and going right to Cleveland, week 6.
I have a win for Pittsburgh here against Cleveland.
So right now you're at 1, 2, 3. You're at
3 and 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're at 3 and 2 right now.
Yep.
And I'm at of course me. I'm at 5-0. But anyway, week 7.
Week 7 is going to be a lot. Is this at Cincinnati? Yep.
At Cincinnati.
I'm taking Cincinnati here. I think last year, due to a lot of injuries, there was a lot of issues last season. But I think Joe Burrow, the way that he finished the year out last year, was absolutely incredible. I think the Bengals are really going to give a really good push in that division this year. So as long as Pittsburgh can keep up, Baltimore can stay consistent, I think watch out for the sneaky Bengals.
Okay, Packers.
I got the Packers here. I do like their defense more than I like their offense. However, the run game last year was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best run games in the National Football League last season. But also on top of that, Jordan Love, I'm not sold. However, when he does play, he plays well. So I do think the quarterback play is edged in Green Bay.
So Rich, that's game 7, but before the Packers, you have them at 3 and 3, which is
I have them starting 3 and 3. So I have them 3 and 4 going through week 8.
Well, you got 2 losses back to back right now. So you're at 1, 2. You're at 3 and 4 right now, going into the Packers.
But that was 3 and 4 was the Packers game. There was a bye week in there, but they bounced back right here. They're going to beat up on the Colts. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the news. Jim Irsay passed away at 65 years old, the owner of the Colts.
I didn't know that.
About an hour and a half ago, breaking news on ESPN was Jim Irsay passed away. They don't know where the team's going to go. One of the daughters, the ex-wife, we don't know where the team's going to go yet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I don't believe in that. I don't like a quarterback that takes the game off halfway. I don't like a quarterback that says I'm too tired to play, so he left the game. If you remember Anthony Richardson last year, I loved him in Florida. I'm very disappointed in him as a player, but Jonathan Taylor is not what he once was. The receiving game's not really there for the Colts as much. I think this is the one game where the Steelers can really show up the mismatch. I think the Steelers can win this game. Now, again, this is all coming down to quarterback play. I really hope that Mason Rudolph can play well enough to get these games done without making turnovers. But just on paper, I'll take Pittsburgh.
Okay, so week 10, I'm just going to go by yours because mine's already whatever, but since you're a guest. So week 10, go ahead.
Man, this is tough because the Chargers are one of those weird teams that it's so hard to pick their wins and losses because when you think they should win, they lose. When you think they're going to lose, they win. However, I'm going to go with a win for the Chargers, so I'm going to take the Chargers over the Steelers here. I think the only problem is my only concern about Pittsburgh this year is that cornerback room, not cornerback room. I love Darius Slay, former Eagle, but one thing that people don't realize, being an Eagles fan, he was getting burned a lot in man coverage last season. The reason why you had to see the resurgence of Cooper DeJean, the reason why our safety core and C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship stepped up so much is they were protecting the left side of the field where a lot of the time Darius Slay was. He can be a little bit of a liability in man. He's great when he has a little bit of support from over the top. We don't know how Pittsburgh is going to utilize that. So either way, I think the Chargers.
It's like a home game. It's like a home game. It's a home game.
Yeah, Pittsburgh doesn't travel well to the West Coast.
Except for when they play the Chargers.
Listen, the Eagles have a home game there every year too. We do the same thing. We take over LA every time. We did it against the Rams too. I mean, we own that stadium every time we go to SoFi.
Okay, so you got them as a loss going into at home against Cincinnati.
So what does that have them at? What do I have them at? 4 and 5?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 5.
I like that. You know, that's
I don't like that.
This is my by the way, this is my
your
first
pick.
By the way, this is my first time looking over the Steelers' schedule. I haven't had a chance to look, so this is my first glimpse. This is my first reaction to it. So I haven't really had a chance to break it down the way that I do. I like to break everything to a science.
I know that's why you're the smartest man in
the
Philly.
Steelers.
Okay.
So this one, I'm almost tempted to take the Bengals. However, injury history tells me that the Bengals are going to have some injuries here by the time we get to Week 11. It's just how the Bengals are. Not to mention Pittsburgh very rarely gets swept by a rival opponent. So I'm going to, just because of the past history of not getting swept very often, I'm going to take Pittsburgh to bounce back, split the series with the Bengals 1-1. I'll take the Steelers over the Bengals here in Heinz Field.
Okay, Week 12.
The Yinzer fans are still Yinzer fans, man. They're tough to play in front of. So I got them at 5-5. Well, hey, for the first time since the beginning of the season, the Steelers are going to be over 500 and beat up on Caleb Williams and the Bears. I still do not believe in Caleb. I'm sorry. I said it last year if you remember the draft show. Actually, I was with you guys that year. I was doing my show that year, and I told you guys I hated the goddamn pick. I still do. I don't believe in the Bears. I think with what they did, I mean, they just picked up a bunch of they picked up Joe Tooney from the Chiefs at guard. They went and tried to reassure the offensive line by shoving a bunch of old heads that used to be all pros together. I just don't see how you take that many random players, shove them together, and expect it to work. I also don't like Chicago, never did. So if there's any Bears fans in the chat, I don't care. So I'm going to say bear down, meaning you're going to put them down.
Speaking of Chicago, me and Shane, rest in peace to Norm, George Wendt. The Bears. Yeah. I mean, if anybody's a Cheers fan like myself, and I'm sure Shane is, I'm sure people in the chat is, I mean, he was a big pop culture icon, and he did that thing on Saturday Night Live.
The Bears.
The Bears. So anyway,
going. So you guys are 6. So you guys are 6-5, heading into a game at home against Buffalo here in Week 13. I'm sorry, Bubba. I know, but I have to take Buffalo. I just don't.
That's a big upset, man. I'm taking the Steelers over the Bills.
You have them 12-0 right now on your piece of paper.
No, I don't. But that's pretty close. But no.
I got to take Buffalo. I still think there's so many weapons, and like last year, for example, same thing. I just think Josh Allen is the differentiator here. I think the quarterback play is so one-sided in this game. And Josh Allen plays well against the AFC. He always has. I mean, it's just, except for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the only kryptonite to Josh Allen Superman. But I don't see Pittsburgh being able to contain the entire offense here. So I have to take Buffalo. So you guys are 6-6 heading into Baltimore.
Okay. That's where we going right there, Week 14.
In Baltimore, you guys always split this one. It's almost like Philly and Dallas. You guys have the same problem with the Ravens as we do. We win at home. We lose away. I'm going to take Baltimore over Pittsburgh here in Baltimore. Gotcha. So back to 6-7, but I think Baltimore wins this game. It's probably going to be a little close. It's probably going to be one of those
6-7. Ooh, I don't like it, but keep going.
But yep. So then, so following that up, Miami. I'm taking Pittsburgh over Miami. I still don't believe in the Tua Tagovailoa project. I can't believe they haven't gotten rid of this guy yet. Tua is hurt by Week 7 every year. That's their biggest weapon. So I'm going to take that there. Following up on that, so I have you guys at 7-7 right now. I'm actually not surprised by this at all. This is exactly kind of what I was thinking was going to happen, barely over 500. But anyway, I'm taking Detroit. Detroit, if they're healthy this time, at this time last year, they were derailed by injuries. I mean, they were the number one defense. I think Philadelphia even would have struggled, if I'm being honest. I think Philly would have struggled. Detroit was the real deal. If Jared Goff can do anything even close to what he did last year, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they drafted a couple more guys on the offense. Jahmyr Gibbs at running back. They have that 1-2 tandem with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, 2 number ones, basically. I mean, the Lions are just incredible on both sides of the ball with a coach that just was ready to bite your ankles, literally, in this press conference. I'm taking Detroit. And then to finish it off, I got back-to-back wins. I think you guys take out the Browns, and I think you guys get your redemption game against Baltimore Week 18. Hey. It takes you to 9-8. I don't know if it's enough to make the playoffs. I don't think it will be. However, it keeps – guess what it does? Well, again, my first ever time seeing it, not keeping track of wins and losses.
9.
Again,
Get 9.
9-8.
Mike Tomlin's whole thing lives on, never has a losing season, but never does anything. Again, and this, I swear on my life that was my first look at their schedule. And again, look how it always ends up. It always
Okay,
ends up
so
around
let me
that
ask
9-8.
you real quick. If they do sign Aaron Rodgers, 2 more wins?
That's a good question.
You know,
Two
it's
more
tough.
wins.
It's tough because, I mean, I could see it. The only concern that I have is obviously Pittsburgh has been trying to work a lot on their offensive line. And the big problem with the Jets was not the defense or anything like that. Actually, Rodgers' numbers were actually pretty solid. The offensive line was kind of shaky, right? And the thing with Rodgers is he's not that guy that you watch the highlights in Green Bay of anymore. He's not the guy who's going to scramble for 11 seconds and then throw a Hail Mary 70 yards downfield. It's just not in his repertoire anymore. He's a lot more of your stationary, drop back in the pocket, stay still, get rid of the ball. He's still accurate, still has a hell of a lot of arm strength. He just needs the time in the pocket. So the big question is going to be, is Pittsburgh's offensive line going to be improved? And we won't know that. We'll have to see for a couple of weeks what they can do this year. They were getting better as the year got to the close last year. If Pittsburgh's O-line takes a step forward with Rodgers, I think 2 more wins. If it stays kind of where it ended off, which is kind of, mid-pack, top 15 in the league, I think maybe 1 more win. But I think maybe that 10-7 still might not be enough for a playoff spot if Cincinnati can stay healthy and if Baltimore does what they've been doing for the last 4 or 5 years. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a really tough division.
Okay.
I think a big part of it is your division, right? If we put you guys in the AFC East, I think it's a playoff berth all day long. I think you dominate the rest of that. I mean, minus Buffalo, I think you're the second best team in the AFC East. I think you easily have a playoff berth. I just think being a division that you're in, aside from Cleveland, everybody else is competitive. I mean,
Well, and if we were in the AFC South, we're number 1.
oh well, yeah, I think every team. Yeah, I think the Eagles would be number 1 in the AFC South.
But
as well,
okay,
but
so now I want to get to something that I, that's thumbnail that I actually did. The Steelers are missing something, and I wanted to see and I'll ask Shane first. What position or who do you think they could sign? Name-wise and position-wise, Shane. Huh?
Well, I was reading today about Kirk Cousins. And I thought,
No. Okay. Well, I mean, if you say that, that's
Rodgers is better than Kirk Cousins.
But I think it's. You look at my list. Aaron, are you here? Aaron.
So that's a position that you think we need.
Hey, Ron, come on. Yeah, I think they need a quarterback. I think, Aaron, if you pick up the phone, like Rich said, 2 more wins. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I think the Steelers with Mason Rudolph are going to have a winning record. They're going to be, I think, maybe 10-9 wins. You get Aaron, offensive line play, like Rich said, I think you're 12 wins.
I think quarterback is. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, this is an NFL league. In the NFL, you haven't seen a team win without a quarterback since probably Trent Dilfer. In 2001. It's very rare.
Yeah, but that was a defense.
Exactly, but that's my point, though. It's so rare to see a team win with a bad quarterback, right? I mean, we've seen mediocre quarterbacks.
I agree with. I like what Gene says because when they had George Pickens, Mason had 2 weapons, but we need another receivers.
I don't believe that Mason Rudolph. I think Mason Rudolph is a very good number 2. I'll give him that. He can come in and fill in. I just do not think that he has the skill. Remember your division. We're talking a division that let's just say hypothetically, the whole division. Let's just say the whole division stays healthy, right? No injuries happen. Now, obviously, that's a perfect world.
Okay.
Now, be honest. Mason Rudolph or Joe Burrow. If you had to pick, all healthy. Remember, they don't get hurt. No injuries.
Okay. Well, I mean, Joe Burrow's $200 million. Mason Rudolph.
I'm just saying from a talent perspective, though, we're still having.
But also, too, our defense.
Yeah,
like they have no. Cincinnati has no defense.
Agreed.
So they're going to have to score 38 points.
But they can. That's the only scary part. They can. I mean, we've seen it happen with Jamar Chase and them guys multiple times. They can.
But if the Steelers defense stops them on 2 to 3 possessions, they're fucked.
But let me give you this as a comeback point. If the offense can't sustain the drive and the defense has to keep getting put back on the field because Rudolph can't move the ball, the defense is going to be exhausted, which means, guess what? More openings. That's always a part of it as well. You have to have a drive.
But also, too, if we can get sign another second receiver to give Mason some more weapons, we need more weapons. I believe Mason getting the push for the number one quarterback position without having anybody trying to take his shit. This time he has something to prove. He has a strong arm, and he's going to throw in the middle. I mean, even though he got his head beat in by Garrett with that helmet, which was bullshit anyway. But also, too, we just need someone not to cost us games, but also, too, he might not be the whole season. They might put Will Howard in maybe because Will Howard is going to be our backup quarterback if they don't sign Rodgers.
But at the same time, the only other the top wide receiver available in the free agency market right now is Amari Cooper. He couldn't fit in with Buffalo.
I don't see us paying that big money.
But that's my point. Well, it's not going to be big money. He'll probably be a league veteran minimum at this point because nobody wants him. But the problem is there's nobody else that's going to come in there and be a versatile number.
They're going to trade. They probably have to make a trade.
But the question is, what assets is it going to take to do so? That's the thing. Like in a perfect world, we all just trade for whatever we need. But it's what do you give up? Because again, what you're saying is, I think the only thing you can really give up if you're Pittsburgh is defense and draft picks, right? That's the only thing you're going to have available, and you definitely can't afford to hurt that defense. So you're not going to move any defensive players, which leads to picks. And the problem when you're in Pittsburgh's position is you have so many holes to fill over the coming years that by losing those picks, you keep yourself mediocre because now, like, look at what Howie Roseman does. We have 13 picks this year. We're going to have another 16 next year, and we're set up for another 11 the following. Why? Because drafting is such an important part. Everybody wants to trade. Everybody wants to sign free agents. But the reason why the Eagles are staying consistent is the ability to draft successfully, and that is a huge part of the NFL's game.
Well, that's what your team is able to draft successfully. We've had a couple classes that have been null for naught.
We've had that
last season has been shitty.
Yeah, we've had that. I mean, we had those too.
If you weren't coming off a Super Bowl winning season and you guys were shitty, then you would be in the same boat as us. The big thing for us, it's just consistency. So my whole point is, though, like, if you get rid of those picks, which is what you would have to do to try to go out and find somebody. I mean, and again, who's that number two guy going to be? I mean, how many teams are willing to give up a guy talented enough to come in there and be your number two? And it's like, who do you go for? So I just think they could have. I think they could have just kept Pickens for 1 year and let it ride out that way.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't know how he was in the. Well, now he's a fucking saint down in Dallas. He's saying everything right. You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes.
It's temporary.
But still, you had that firepower. We had the firepower. We had the fucking race car in the garage, and now we don't have the race car. We got one car. We had two.
Eagles didn't do crap till they got Barkley. Meanwhile, they made it to the Super Bowl in 2022 without him. We won a Super Bowl in 2017 without him. But we'll just pretend that you're right, that we didn't do anything until Barkley got here. Anyway, but yeah. So I mean, again, my only thing is it's going to be very hard at this point in the season because June 1st will be the final cut day, I believe, for the cap to get cleared up. We'll see what guys become available around that time. Then you're going to have your final cut day. The final week of the preseason, which would be like the end of August, towards the middle
if we do that, I mean, we need a number two receiver. So if somebody, somebody or they, I'll give up a third round pick. I'd give up a third round pick right now. They're not trading him. Saints were not trading him. They're not trading him, and that's
Kellen Moore just got there, the former Eagles offensive coordinator, and he's already said that he's not getting rid of Olave. He's a big part of what he plans to do.
Yeah, and I know that, and I know that I've seen some stuff where Pierce from the Colts, he's averaging 17. We just need a number two guy. We need a good number two guy. That's what we need.
It's just not easy to find. That's the thing.
I know it's not, but like I said, if they'd have just had Pickens for this whole year. Even though it would have been a lot of drama, like Shane says, it'd be a lot of fucking drama. But we had the firepower, and Mason could have whoever was quarterbacking, you got two fucking big name receivers that nobody could cover anyway. I don't give a fuck what defense is out there. You ain't covering Metcalf and you ain't covering George Pickens. There's no fucking way. And there's no shutdown corners like fucking Charles Woodson and Rod Woodson, because that's just how it is.
Quinyon Mitchell.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
Our starting.
I don't give a fuck.
Our second-year corner.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. But anyway, I don't care. But I'm just saying we had it, and that's what we don't have now. And that is the position that we need out of all three. I know we need maybe another running back. I would like to see Nick Chubbs, and I said it last night, and I'll say it again 2 nights in a row. I like Nick Chubbs. If we could get him at a good price, I'm okay with that.
I just got to stand by Shane on this one. I think the quarterback thing makes me nervous. I mean, again, there are other positions as well. There's always.
Well, I'm nervous. I'm nervous too in this quarterback situation because the Pittsburgh Steelers with this now I'm going on a rant. This stupid ass drama of quarterback in the last 3 years is just ridiculous, and it's just not the way of Steelers getting held hostage and dealing with Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't care. That's why I'm all like, it doesn't matter anymore for me. That's why I'm going all Mason Rudolph now, because it's just not the way it's not. He didn't show up at the McAfee show in Pittsburgh, which I thought he was going to, which would have been huge. If he'd have been that, then I'm like, okay, we're okay. You know, he's doing something. But no, it's a fucking game for him, and that's all it ever is.
Hey, Ron. Give us a call.
Yeah, Ron and Larry, you got to spin the wheel for the hats.
9 more subs.
We're almost at 400.
I don't even get a free hat, by the way, Larry. So if I don't get one, you don't get one. You got to spin the wheel like everybody else. I'm still waiting for my goddamn hat.
Randy, I don't think we have a number 2 receiver right now. We have a 3 and 4.
They might find one. There's one hanging around.
In other teams, but not on our team. I think the number 2 receiver is Pat Freiermuth. And I said that last year, and it should have been. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, we have to sign another receiver. I just don't know who. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not all the way. Not all the way.
We just got to win a playoff game. That's all, and go from there.
It depends on who you're playing against. I mean, you're still going to have the Buffaloes and the Kansas Cities and those.
If they upset Buffalo Bills, that's all we need. Just an upset, like right there. Upset Buffalo. They're coming to Pittsburgh. They're coming to Pittsburgh. Hey, Pittsburgh has beat Buffalo when we had no hope. We had no hope. Fucking Ben was throwing with fucking duct tape on his arms, and I mean that was whatever. But I mean, and I remember that Buffalo Bills used to kick our ass. Then one faithful Monday night football game, the Steelers just beat up on Buffalo and was beating them up until they drafted Josh Allen. The Buffalo, and if there's any Bills fans here, we were fucking beating the shit out of you from then on until they drafted Josh Allen.
We discussed that a little bit, Rob. We were talking about that a little bit earlier.
I don't know if he's a number 2. If we can get him at a good price, but maybe he's about 2 years too late, I think.
I mean, he's 30, 31. I mean, I think he still has the skills. I mean, I think for you guys, I mean, he's still the number 2 if he comes in.
1 year.
$1 year, $3-4 million deal, something small if you can get him there.
Somebody's going to get cut. Some big name receiver is going to get cut, and Pittsburgh needs to fucking pounce on it and sign him. I don't know who. I just feel that it's coming in training camp because there is a lot of people that get cut. But if they make a trade, I would give up a 3rd-round pick next year for a receiver because we need some firepower. That's all I don't know. And I don't know if he's injury
a big part of it, he took a step back last year. I mean, a big part of it was he went to Buffalo towards the end of the year. They tried to force him into a system, didn't really give him time to get implemented, and it didn't pan out. He ended up having a bad, pretty 4 games in Buffalo. But I think he's still good enough to get you a good 700
I think we need another offensive tackle as depth, a running back, and we could use another corner because I read where Darius is not all that in a bag of chips. I don't know until I see him in training camp. Like, it's always good to have another corner, but I like a corner that's over 6 feet tall.
Well, are you guys running? I mean, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but are you guys running a zone defense? Is a lot of man? I mean, what is the?
I don't know anymore. I mean, it all depends.
I'm only asking because I mean,
that zone defense sucks because then we get eat up alive.
Well, I mean, if you leave, there's always going to be gaps. I mean, that's why in a zone defense, you're trying to watch the outside, you're trying to force it to the middle, and that's where your linebackers have to make plays and your inside.
But also, too, if our defensive line is penetrating and doing what they need to do, and the middle linebackers, the outside linebackers are doing what they're supposed to do, a lot of pressure on a quarterback. It doesn't matter who's back there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, a big, they always say the best way to protect your secondary is to have a good up front, and that's going to be what it comes down to. So we'll see.
On paper, it looks good. Everything looks good on paper right now. But Shane, you are right. A quarterback is, and I said that last night, a quarterback is a vital part, and this is crazy.
I just don't get why people get so mad whenever I doubt Mason Rudolph on like any Steelers page. Every time I mention it, everybody loses their fucking minds. It blows my mind. Like, listen, I shit on Jalen after having a near MVP season 2 years ago. Like, I'm a realist. Like, I want to see my fucking team win. I don't care if I like him or I don't. I love Carson Wentz, but I'm glad he's fucking gone. Did I love him? Yes. Did I support him? Yeah. Was I pretty upset when he left? Sure. But he wasn't
that one game that sucked.
It now took me 2 years to accept. I mean, listen, I still won't pretend that I never lie about my takes. I was always against Jalen, said he couldn't win the big game. He won the big game, shut me up. I'm glad he shut me up. Right? I mean, I'm always happy to be wrong, especially when you give a take like that. Like, if you were to sit here right now and say, oh, the Steelers can't win, and they win, well, you're still going to be fucking happy, right?
Look at that devil. Yeah. It's going to take us to the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, the one where the turds flush around the bottom.
I'm going to make sure we're paying bills here. Guys, if you like this show or don't like it, or if your grandma needs to fall asleep, send it to her. But share it, like it, subscribe.
Yeah, don't. We're 9 away from 400. We got 109 to get 500. We are part of Sports Bible on the webcast. This show will be downloaded and set on that. We're the only Steeler podcast on that whole channel. They do Pirates, Penguins, Steelers. Now they're doing the wrestling talk. So JT Toth is making that website booming in the Pittsburgh area. And we are doing what we need to do. We're going to go to training camp this year. I'm going to get some footage. And I don't know how Roman Wilson's going to be because he's got to get on the field.
Got to learn that playbook.
Again,
I think he was in Tomlin's doghouse. A
lot of moving parts in Pittsburgh. That's where my 9-8 comes from. I mean, if they come out and they show what they need to show early on.
I have one of my coworkers told me the Steelers, and I said yes, 14-3, and he's a 14-3. He goes, you don't want to hear this, Bubba? 14-3. I was like, well, that's kind of crazy. That's more than I got.
I'll tell you what, my wife will kill me, but I'll put $2,000 down right now. It doesn't happen. I'll bet $2,000 flat out. I don't even sports bet, but I can bet that one and be very confident about it.
14-3
moving forward. I'll bet you $2,000 doesn't happen. $2,000.
My wife will kill me.
Anybody in the comment section, I need to see proof that you have it in your checking account before you go making that bet. But I want to see the account. I want to see you put it to your savings to make sure it's there.
If I had money, all that money, I'd bet too, man.
But as of the fourth loss in Week 7, I better see my $2,000. I mean,
you got the Jets. You got us losing to the Jets first game. I don't have that, so that
I just think that people forget so quickly. Again, injuries are a part of the game. I'm not trying to say it always is. But I think that, and again, I think I even had Shane at the time on the bandwagon with me there for a little bit. They were the real fucking deal. I mean, top.
If Derrick Henry goes out for the Ravens are fucked because last year he almost rushed for 400 yards against us.
Again,
if he gets hurt, they're fucking history.
What happens what happens if Mason Rudolph gets hurt? What happens then? What happens? What's DK Metcalf
coming in? Will Howard's coming in.
DK Metcalf has missed a couple games. What happens? What are you going to do?
Or Tom Brady right now?
What do you do if DK Metcalf goes out? What then? What are you going to do then?
Well, hopefully we got a number 2 receiver.
The whole offense is anchored around DK Metcalf doing what he's been doing in Seattle. If he can't do that, you guys are screwed. So, yeah, that's the thing. We can do it about everybody. That's just how it is.
I don't know. $2,000 will buy a lot of boner pills and hair plugs.
And listen, we're always going to disagree.
I don't know how much boner pills cost.
What I love about spectating and my favorite part, and like I say this, I'm gonna say this to George, I say this to everybody I talk to, and Bubba, you know where I got my nickname Rich Smoke from in the first place. That was given me years ago because I always seem to draw all the smoke in my direction. Everybody comes after me with heaters every single time. But the reality is, that's my favorite part of being a spectator, right?
Look.
It hasn't happened yet. Nobody knows. They can go 17-0. We can all be like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Man, I'll be partying like a rock star.
But they can go 0-17.
The show will
how
be
did that
building.
happen?
We'll have thousands of fucking subscribers.
But
Shane will be doing a dance. We'll be paying money.
But they can go 0-17, right? Because hypothetically, anything
that'll
can
be
happen.
good. We'll be doing. If they're 0-17, we'll be selling money. We'll be going. I'll be losing my fucking mind.
But the reason why
entertaining.
The reason I say that, though, is that, everything's a hypothetical. Again, anything can happen. Could this guy get hurt? Could this guy play better than he's expected to? Can this guy step down? Can he step up? That's the best part about this. There's no whenever you watch ESPN, there's no fucking sports.
I don't watch ESPN.
The reality is
terrible.
There's no fucking sports experts, okay? What they are is just like us. They're millionaires that say the same shit we say on these fucking podcasts.
Well, I'm not a millionaire. I wish I was.
I'm saying, but that's the only difference is they're millionaires, we're average Joes. But we're all saying the same shit.
Well, that Ostrowski guy's a goddamn pussy because there's no way Steelers are going 0-6.
Last year there were seven sportscasters that had the Eagles finishing third in the NFC East. 7. Chris Coward was one of them. The Nick guy, I forget what the hell, Nick Wright, whatever his name is.
It's hard.
He had
it's hard. Your team, it's going to be hard to get back to the game again. It's very hard to get back there.
Yep.
Okay, and I know the Kansas City Chiefs did it in the year that they got beat
by
Tampa
Bay.
I'm
saying when we won it,
the year they got beat by Tampa Bay, they got beat up so bad on the offensive line. What did they do? They went out and fixed the offensive line. It wasn't the greatest offensive line, but they fixed it, got back in, and won a Super Bowl. Okay, that's what you got to do. So, and Randy, thanks for coming on tonight. We'll see. I think if we do not sign Aaron Rodgers, which this is the biggest soap opera bullshit in Steelers history in my entire life, Mason Rudolph, if he doesn't, Will Howard is going to be the number 2 backup because Skylar Thompson is not going to be our backup. Will Howard is going to be the backup. And then next year, they're going to draft a quarterback. I mean, that's given.
I wonder if the Magic 8 Ball agrees with.
There you go. Okay, let's do that before we. Okay. Before we get out of here.
Magic 8 Ball. Let me get it up.
Yeah, get it up.
Sometimes it's hard.
Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
But Rich, and you're coming on to a Steeler podcast, and you're an Eagles fan, but you're an NFL fan, and you give it to us real, and you give it real, and that's why it is. You're passionate about. You love the NFL, and you're passionate about it. And that's why.
I have the Eagles dropping to 10 or 11 wins this year as my fairest. And now again, a lot of Eagles fans would say, 15-2, 14-3, and some non-Eagles fans are saying, 9 wins. I'll give them 11.
What did you say? 9 and what?
9 and 8. 9 and 8.
9 and 8. I have them. Magic 8 Ball. The smartest man in Philadelphia, Rich Smoke, says the Steelers will be 9 and 8. Will it be true? What did it say?
Yes, definitely. And the smoke clears once again for another beautiful day in Philadelphia. Wait, what's that show? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Spoken, guys.
Hey, don't quote me. Just know the Magic 8 Ball supports me. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, like I said, we're 9 away from 400. Shane's got a couple shirts to give away. Like I said, we're on Sports Vival. If you love the Pittsburgh sports, because we're the only coach. We got the only coach in Pittsburgh sports that actually is doing anything because the Pirates fucking suck, and we don't even have a Penguin coach yet. So, I mean,
Pirates hired a coach they had 25 years ago.
The Pirates are terrible. Bob Nutting's never going to sell that team, and it's ridiculous. And Major League Baseball should come in and just cancel him out. He needs to get charged with some harassment, sexual harassment or something, and get rid of him because he's god awful. That's the only way that Bob Nutting is going to get taken out of there and it's just terrible. And Afton, thank you for coming on as always. Tomorrow night, we are going to do 25 movies that we are going to take if we were going camping, or if we had an opportunity to take the movies that we like and watch them if the cable went out, something like that. Let me get to these things. Talking back. I didn't know
Flyers
that.
suck. So
There we go. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate Devil, you as always. Gene, George, Doug, thank you guys as always. And before I get out of here, I want to say a little bit of I got to promote a little bit here. You know, June 22nd, tickets are on sale, and I am trying to promote this son of a bitch like nothing else. We got ECW World Heavyweight Champion Rhino coming in the house. 9 matches. I had a couple cancellations. I got them fixed. I got it booked. I want to thank all the sponsors. PP and J's in Indiana is our ticket outlet. Go out and see Phil. He's got the tickets right now, and smoked pasta salad, smoked deviled eggs, and nachos. We went out Saturday, and the food was great. And he's going to have a waitress, and he's doing whatever he's got to do. And if you're in the Indiana area, come out and support small businesses, because they're supporting me, and I try to support everybody. And before I get out of here, Smoke, thank you for coming on the show as always. When are you getting your show ready so we can get it out to the world here?
Yeah, so the plan was July. I think I'm actually going to put a rush order on that. I think I'm going to be here in about 3 weeks or so. Should be towards the end of June, middle of June. But yeah, there is a show coming soon. I do want to get ready for the OTAs, training camp, preseason, things like that. So the Smoke Show NFL Talk will be arriving here in June. Now, I am actually in the middle of – I don't want to have – just to be quick here, I don't want to have a permanent co-host, so to speak, but I am looking for a bit of a rotation. Obviously, I won't get into detail on what happened last time, but, I'm very, you know how I am. I'm very to the point. If I start at 8, I want to be there at 8,
Right.
Whatever it is. So, in the meantime, it gives me a few weeks. I'm going to dig a little bit, find a couple guys to get on the rotation, make sure they have availability, get some testing going. I am going to have
Don't get that John guy. He wasn't very good.
Well, I'm going to have 2 separate things. So there's going to be a regular full-time podcast here, or streaming on Facebook, YouTube, things of that nature. And then the night after, I'm actually going to be doing a TikTok live. If they let us do that.
Yeah, I speaking on that before I get out of here. I did TikTok, and I tell you what, it was raunchy, man. I just was talking Steelers football, and it was some raunchy. And I haven't done a live since.
How much you like the black and gold?
Payment burgers.
Well, what happens is
payment burgers.
Well, the thing is, though, Shane and Bubba, real fast, is the thing about that is it takes time to filter that out. Like, it's always going to start off with a bunch of randos popping in saying bullshit, because they're trying to troll your stream ultimately.
Right.
But what's going to happen is, as you go live more consistently, you'll pick up new people and you'll start kicking those out. Once you start getting more commenters and more viewers, those
I
people
just think Pepper as the moderator, shutting people down, and then it's all over. But because it was terrible. Tammy was like, "You're getting trolled, baby. They are trolling you. They're making like little and it's all sexual." And I'm like,
it's on
I
purpose.
want to talk Steelers. I want to talk Steelers football, assholes.
They're trying to shut down news stream. That's what a lot of people do. They go out, they troll, they mess with people with very low viewers at first, and then as you build up and you're kind of a legit thing, it's actually nice to kind of have some of them because it builds up your viewer base. But what they don't realize is for every viewer you have, the more that TikTok spotlights you, the more people are going to see your show. So let them know.
I'll get back on it. Get back on it.
So,
I just had a bad taste.
So that's
in
the
my
plan.
mouth.
So the plan is right now we would go live Wednesday at 8. I know it kind of plays into your role a little bit, but that's kind of the plan. So my schedule.
It is.
And then Thursdays at 8, I would probably go live on TikTok as a separate entity. That's going to be just the Smoke Show. We'll be talking sports in general. Let the comment section really take over the show as well. So that's coming here in June. So I'm excited for that.
Sex bots. Yeah. I had a guy offer me $100, but
exactly, Afton. Exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Trolls increase engagement. Yep.
Well, maybe me and Shane can get on TikTok and then whatever. Whatever. Shane's all about. But tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, on the Triple B Experience, myself and Shane and Cable are 25 movies that we'll take with us wherever any genre, not in any order, and we'll see what we got tomorrow night because I got some interesting ones.
And if Rocky is not on there, it's not smoke approved. Just for the
and
So-
I swear only 5 of my 25 are Mary Kate and Ashley movies.
Oh, I love those.
Oh my God! Please no.
How about Barbie and the Magical Pegasus? You taking that one?
No porn movies. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Shane, thank you as always. Rich Smoke, thank you for coming on.
Always a
Steeler
pleasure.
Nation, thank you for tuning in to a show about nothing, but we make it about something. And because the season is upon us, OTAs next week. If something goes down, if someone signs, we'll do a video, we'll do whatever. You know, it is what it is. One Night in Paris. I don't know if I ever saw that movie. I know One Night in Sonoma, One Night in Sonoma, One Night in Dixonville. It was a big hit.
Two Girls, One Cup, I heard is great.
So everybody, thank you guys. We will see you tomorrow night at the Triple B Experience at 9:00. So everybody, thank you guys. Randy, thank you so much. Hit like and subscribe. Get us to 400. Get us so we can get some shirts out. And Patricia, I will get your hat to Mexico. 2 Girls and a Cup of Noodles. I never saw that movie.
It's the Asian version.
Yeah, I never seen that one. Oh, we love you long time. Okay, everybody. See you guys. Take care. See you, Shane.
Oh, we're
See you,
canceled.
Rich.
We're canceled.